Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about complex numbers. Now, complex numbers has been a topic of debate for a lot of mathematicians many years ago. And they came up with a system, or actually one scientist came up with a system where you can actually have a negative real number under a radical. Like for instance, right here, -1 under the radical would actually give us the imaginary unit I. And then if we look at this term right here, we have 5 plus 4i. Now I labeled each term and then I tried to explain what each term represents. So 5 is considered the real part of the term. Then we have 4i. 4i as a whole is considered the imaginary number. And then this whole term is the complex number. And this is what we're going to discuss throughout this whole video. A plus bi is written in standard form. A plus bi can equal c plus di if a and c are real numbers, and if bi and di are, and if b is equal to d. That's the only condition in which this statement is true. Again, is when a is equal to c and when b is equal to d. Now let's just jump right ahead and do some examples like the ones I did on the left right here. We have 3 plus 2i plus 1 minus 6i. We're just gonna go ahead and do some algebra here. So we can just break up the parentheses really. So 3 plus 2i plus 1 minus 6i. We can go ahead and group like terms. We have 3 plus 1, which is going to give us 4. You want to put the real part first. Then we have 2i minus 6i, which is just minus 4i. And that's our answer. In the next example, we have 3 plus 2i times 3 minus 2i. Notice we're going to have to use the distributive property here. So 3 times 3 is going to give us 9. 3 times negative 2i is going to give us negative 6i. 2i times 3 is going to give us 6i, positive 6i. And then 2i minus 2i times negative 2i is going to give us negative 4i squared. Notice how the negative 6i and the positive 6i are going to go. We're going to end up with 9 minus 4i squared. Now, I squared is basically a radical -1 squared, which is -1. And I've written it up here because this is very important. You're going to have to memorize this by heart, really. 9 minus 4i squared is just going to give us 9 minus 4 times -1. -4 times -1 is going to give us positive 4. So 9 plus 4. And our answer is eventually going to be 13. Now, when dealing with complex numbers, you don't have to necessarily always end up with a complex number written in standard form. You can end up with a real value, like for instance 13 here. And I'm gonna go ahead and do some more examples in the next video, but in this video I just wanted to introduce what a complex number is. And it's used in a variety of applications, for instance in engineering, in electricity, in magnetism, and I'm sure in a lot more applications, but first, that this is what it is. There isn't really much to it. As long as you memorize, as long as you know that I squared is equal to -1, and that I, which is the imaginary unit, is equal to radical -1. And this statement is true if A is equal to C and if B is equal to D. And as I wrote here, a+bi, that's written in standard form. And basically this whole thing is considered the complex number. Now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.